Alright, I guess I'll start then. Hi, I'm Kimmo, I'm from Futurize. Sorry about my voice, it's a bit down. I caught a flu earlier this week, but don't let it disrupt you. I do a lot of open source stuff, mainly on JavaScript and web techs and stuff like that. I have been doing open source projects for about 5 years or so. Mainly they have been small projects, small libraries, or stuff like that. And I'm gonna talk about my latest project and how I got traction for it in GitHub and some practical tips of the stuff that I did to make it popular.
Can you hear Kimmo?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I made this library called progressbar.js, and it's basically just a small library which you can use to create any shape progress bars. It's based on SVG graphs, so practically any SVG path can be animated with it to be a progress bar. So, for example, your company's logo could be a progress bar or whatever. Almost everything in these slides are learnings from this project. Some stats of the project. It gained something like 45,000 visitors and over 6,000 page views and over 3,000 stars in GitHub. So these are what I think that make a good project. Some steps. Solves an existing problem. A problem that you get stuck in regularly. It's well gift wrappen, so it's made easy to use. You need to share it right time to the correct channels. And the last, you need to maintain the project. Or it can be a ridiculous project like Arnold C or something stupid like that. But anyway, solve an existing problem. You probably have found some problems while doing your regular projects, and I know that other people have dealt with them before, but they just have not packaged it well and put it online. So when I was doing progressbar.js, I found a couple of problems. Sometimes using a library just doesn't feel right. It may depend on jQuery, which is the usual bad thing. Other progressbar didn't support animation. They had a weird API. It was made 10 years ago, or it looked like it was made 10 years ago. And these are the things that annoyed me when I was trying to find a good project, and they were the one that I tried to fix when I was making my own project. Documentation is super important. A bunch of code without an explanation isn't very interesting or useful. And this is pretty basic stuff that I see when I'm using a project. The documentation is out of date, or they have wrong examples, or what else? Lack of examples is annoying. It's the quickest way to get hang of how the API works. And without examples, it takes much more time to get the code working actually. Tests give you some idea of the project's quality. And if I see that a project has tests, I give more value to it because it's probably done better than some else projects with no tests. And before doing anything, you need to search pretty well about existing projects It's pretty easy to miss good existing projects if you just have the wrong keywords. And you know you have a good idea which you want to do, and you have probably already done something for it. You need to gift wrap it. And what I mean by gift wrapping is that you make the code you have been doing as easy as possible and as pretty as possible for others to find it too. If you present your project nicely, it will probably get users. This is how README looks in ProgressBar.js. There's instant JS fiddle which you can try. It takes like 1 second to start actually using or testing the API. Have a demo page for your library. It will show how it actually looks like in a real web page or whatever the platform is that you are targeting to. People want to try the new thing like immediately. If it takes too long, you have to install a virtual machine and database for it. It's too much. I wouldn't even try it if it doesn't solve all of my problems. Help getting started by having examples, full examples of how to use it, how to install the library. Here I have few examples, full examples which have HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So you can just take these examples and you know how the library is installed and how it's going to be used. And later on, people will want to know the specifics of the project. So you need to have an API reference documentation. You need to document each method and attribute and everything. This is a good example of Bluebird. It has quite a good API reference. I think API documentation has failed if you need to look at the source code at some point. Help other people to contribute to your project. Make it easy for them to understand what they have to do to make contributions that you will accept to the project. And try to document everything you make and prepare for the day that you lose interest to your project so others can probably maintain it after you. This of course takes quite a lot of time, and this is from ProgressBar.js. This is like a real rough estimate of how much work have been made for the commits, and that's actually 20 working days. But I don't know, this might be a bit overkill because I wanted to make it as good as I could. Share it at the right time to the correct channels. So when you have done it, you of course need to share it, but it's important where you share it. Get initial buzz when you are sharing the project in the start. You need to get a big boom or like as much as people to see it in the first 24 hours. For example, the GitHub's daily trending repositories are practically the most starred repositories in last 24 hours. So to get on that list, you need to get as much as people to see it. Time zones are also important to think when you are sharing stuff. If you share something in Finland at 3 p.m., people in San Francisco haven't even woke up yet. So this might not apply to your project sharing, but it's a good thing to know about and stuff to think about. For example, when I shared ProgressBar, I shared it 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and that was because then my colleagues share it initially before they leave work. And probably if I get it bit shared from the regular mass, it will even get like people that I don't know to share it. And by the time Europe has shared it, people in America wake up and they will look their morning stuff and look, maybe get to repositories and see this new library. Here's some traffic of the Google Analytics from the demo page. You probably don't see it in the back, but there's the peaks were something like 5,000 page views per day. And the first peak is when I shared it on Tuesday. And the peak always goes down, and on Monday the peak goes up. So people see the repository and they share it, and then people are losing their interest to watch news, or maybe they are doing regular work. But on Mondays, when they're tired and they don't want to yet do the real work, they just look news or newsletters, and that's the time when you'll probably get most people to see your project. After the first week, the view counts dropped something like to 500 a day, and that's the part where you need to have your project in Google search, because otherwise your project will probably go down deep to the sea and no one will find it after that. But if it comes up in Google search, they will find it. And this is maybe the most important part, where to share the library. Of course, these are like obvious things, but friends and colleagues, of course, and share it share it to everyone. Share it on Twitter, on Facebook, if that's something you could do, and share it on Reddit. Share it to popular newsletters like JavaScript Weekly, blog authors, Daily.js, and stuff like that. And the volumes of these blogs they vary quite a lot. For example, from Twitter, the project got something like under 5% of the users, and almost 50% of the viewers were from Reddit. There's just so many readers in Reddit and blogs and newsletters that they are the most important places to share your project. And Reddit and Hacker News, they have these cheat detections, which will, if you just directly link to your project and say that upvote this link, and they will go to the link directly without going from the newest list or something like that. Reddit and Hacker News will not give as much as upvotes as if it was uploaded from the newest list. So what that means is that when you share your project to Hacker News or Reddit, tell people to go to look for the newest projects and upvote it from there instead of the direct link. You can also help people to get more users. You could comment to a Stack Overflow question where your solution will help them, or maybe open an issue to GitHub project if your library could save thousands of lines of code from their project, or just comment to related blog posts. And after you have done all the things and it's shared and it's on and live, you need to maintain the project. It's important to keep it alive, and even if the code is still good after 1 year or so, people won't use it because they get scared of the fact that nobody has updated it for years. answer to issues and pull requests. Even if you don't do them yourself, just give some comment that they know that you're still alive or something like that. Bootstrap is a good example. They have over 10k closed issues, and if Twitter died, someone else would probably maintain the Bootstrap. And if you have given a lot of effort for a project, don't throw away the effort. Allow others to continue the work, and don't lock it behind your GitHub account. Move it to an organization GitHub account or whatever that has to be made so others can continue maintaining it. If you lose interest to your project, you can always find new maintainers. This is how Teiji Holloway Chuck did after he decided to leave Node.js community. He just basically put a blog post that I need like hundreds of maintainers because my 1,000 projects are otherwise gonna die. And most of them did find a new maintainer. And one thing that you might think is that when to release. I think the best time to release is when your documentation and demos are ready. The code doesn't need to be perfect, your test doesn't need to cover 100%. People are gonna see the documentation, the README and the demo page first. And that's what makes the impression of your library. I bet you could even have a popular repository without even any lines of code. People just star anything that looks promising. And all of this may sound a bit too self-promoting, but if you have put a lot of effort to it, then why not share it to others so people that have the same problems could actually benefit from your work. It's always fun to help people. And probably you have had some good projects yourself, so share your project. Thanks. Yeah, any questions? Yeah.
What do you mean by releasing the project? So I guess you can have your GitHub repo public and have some people contributing that, but it's that publication or big push when you try to get more people.
Yeah, but
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, the question was that what do you mean by releasing? And by releasing the project, I mean the initial like sharing when you put effort to your sharing and share it to your colleagues, and that's what I mean by releasing. So before you do that, you need to put things in condition. Any other questions?
No
yeah.
questions, but feedback.
Yeah.
I like the idea when, not the idea, but I like the way you were saying it's fun to help people. So it's really nice to hear about this culture
Yeah,
in your
thanks.
work.
Okay, I guess that's it. Thanks, and if you have any questions you like to ask, just grab me later on in the night.